Whole show going crazy. Whole show going crazy. Top 5 we debating.
Top five. 5 Over Friends, the show where we debate our top 5 list on a topic chosen by a listener with the listener.
As usual, our friendship goes out the door once we get into it. This is 5 Over Friends. Hey guys, it's Seth. When Wes and I decided to start our podcast, we used Anchor because it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And they'll distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's essentially everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spend most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside of the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air."
What's up, guys? It's Seth and Wes back for another episode this week. Our guest is a buddy of mine, Josh. Josh, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Josh. Grew up with Wesley. I'm an electrical engineer in Raleigh, North Carolina. Went to NC State, graduated. Now I'm working, living life, having a good time. Been married for about a year now.
You got adult money now.
Got adult money now.
Like
yeah, I just bought a house.
Like when I have adult money, I buy this.
Exactly. Exactly. Just bought a house though, so that was a fun thing to do with adult money.
Well, yeah, that's an adult thing to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, Josh, what was your topic for us this week?
My topic was vacation spots.
All right. So, we're going to go over top 5 vacation spots, and instead of like beach, mountains, we wanted to get specific with it so that everybody could have pretty different lists and kind of give their arguments and we could debate on those specific spots. And all right, so without further ado, Josh, let's hear your 5.
Sure. So I tried to make this something where it can get a little bit contentious. My number 5 pick was that option. I decided to go with a cruise ship. Hear me out. Cruise ships are kind of notorious. Sometimes you get people turn their nose up at it a little bit. But if you embrace it, it's a great time. Everything's just a couple feet away from food, bars, casino, great sights. You get incredible value. They're pretty cheap. You get to see a lot of cool places. You get to see a lot of different places in one vacation. I went on one and we went to the Bahamas. We went to the Cayman Islands. We went to Mexico, all in a span of 5 days. There's not many other vacations where you can do that. Casinos on board. Love a casino. Sometimes the food is spectacular. Got that molten cake. So good.
So your number 5 is 40,000 square feet of space. I just want to make
40,000 square feet of space. Have you ever seen a cruise ship? Oh man, it's like a floating city. It's probably bigger than square footage. It's probably, I don't know. I was going to say probably about the size of NC State's campus, but that's not right. But it is a floating city.
It's not an island. It's a cruise ship.
It kind of is.
I will say that I've not had a bad time on a cruise that I've been on.
Right.
But it's like it has that white trash connotation.
100%. 100%.
And everyone just kind of like gives it that. Just I don't even know the word for it, but everyone has that kind of stigma that's associated with a cruise.
Right. I can't do it all the time, but if you do it like every couple years or so and you embrace it, it's a great time. It's a lot of fun.
And if you do the bottomless drinks and if you like to gamble and that kind of stuff.
I see the value in it.
Yeah,
I see
definitely.
The value, but I've never been on a cruise ship, but in my mind, I picture old people in like their little buggies. Like, get out of my way. I'm going to the whatever.
You definitely have to pick
people.
You definitely have to pick the right one. Like, cause some of them you book it and it's like you end up on a cruise with like 80% old people. You have to make sure you're booking the right ones.
Either 80% old people or 80% kids.
Yeah.
So you gotta book the right one.
All right. I mean, you're right. Definitely some contention with cruise ships, but like I said, I didn't hate the two that I've been on, so I understand the pick. All right, I'll go with my 5. Mine's Savannah, Georgia. Always had a good time in Savannah. The open container law is pretty cool. Just being able to walk down the street and drink.
It's a good pick.
Yeah. A lot of fun bars, a lot of great places to eat, some cool hotels, places to stay. Just walking down the river, got a drink in your hand.
I've actually been there. Like, you guys are in the North Carolina, so it makes sense
Mhm.
that you guys have kind of been there. But yeah, I've been there when I went to
Hilton Head.
Hilton Head.
Yeah.
One time I went through Savannah, so we flew in and out of Savannah, and it was nice. I mean, I can understand. It's like a chill place to go. I feel like not a whole lot to do entertainment wise, but there's like
Drink.
a lot of small cool bars, stuff like
Yeah.
that. If you just want to hang out somewhere for the weekend, I can understand that, I guess.
Yeah, I like Savannah too. One of the things that I haven't done that I'd like to is go visit Tybee Island. That place seems pretty cool, and I haven't been yet.
Yeah, I've been there once. It was there was a couple like beach bars that you can get lunch at right off the beach where they had good food too. We made a day trip out of it one time when we were in Savannah. But yeah, that's number 5 on my list. Let's hear your
They have
5.
They have a cool like little downtown area too,
Mhm.
right? Like, I went
Everything
to
you could want is right
Paula
there. within
Dean's, I
walking
think.
distance.
I went to Paula Dean's restaurant there.
Yeah, I think it's down there.
Yeah, so
A lot
I went
of-
there.
a
They
lot
had
of good
some really
food.
cool like art stores, like local art.
And they have
supporting stores, so,
like
yeah.
pop-up marketplaces out there sometimes too.
Yeah, so number 5 on my list is LA. Just a big
Ooh.
city.
Love that pick.
It's huge. I hate driving in LA. I mean, we went and we flew there and we kind of drove up and down the coast. Really like LA, probably the largest city I've been in. I mean, the only other one that would be bigger was New York, and I haven't been there. So LA, I feel like you've got clearly everything you want in a big city, but you're also not far from the beach. You can go to LA beaches. Yeah, a lot going on. Pretty much every single second of every day there's something to do. There's tons of art, tons of entertainment, tons of just things to do. Beautiful food, beautiful people. Yeah, and there's always like the Hollywood thing you can do while you're in that area. So I like sneakers too. So there are tons of sneaker shops. Went to my first Flight Club, Riff, all that stuff. Went to my first OVO store. So Supreme.
Yeah, I'll echo LA. LA just missed the cut on my list, but LA is so cool. The beach is right there. You got mountains. I went out to a couple of restaurants there. Every meal I had was fantastic.
Yes.
Hollywood was really cool. Walking down the walk of it. It's touristy as heck, but it's cool.
That's what it's there for.
Never been to LA.
Yeah.
It's on my list of one-day places to go. I've been to the only place in Cali I've been, and this just missed my cut, was San Diego. Awesome place to visit. Went out there to watch a Braves series, and that was really cool. I wasn't quite 21 yet, and the district we were staying in, like to just walk around in it at night, you had to like show your ID.
21.
You had to be 21 just to even like experience it. So
Wow.
kind of only did like the baseball game stuff, and then did some like during the day stuff, but couldn't even walk around after the game and enjoy that. But all right, Seth, what's your 4?
Yeah, so kind of staying out in that West Coast Cali area. Some people consider it a subdivision or like a suburb, I guess, not a subdivision, but a suburb of LA is Malibu. But it has a completely different vibe to me. Like LA is hustle and bustle. It's a big city feel. And then you just go west further to the coast on Malibu, and it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And it's super chill. A lot of little shops and restaurants right there on the beach. I think it's beautiful. One of the most expensive places in all of America to stay, to travel, to live, of course. But it's beautiful. We drove through there and hung out there a little bit when we were driving down the coast from LA to San Diego. And going back to San Diego real quick, I feel like I would have liked San Diego more, but it rains like 1% of the time there, and it rained all 3 days that we were there.
Oh,
So,
no.
Like
That was one
it
thing.
never rains, and it rained when we were there, so it kind of put a little damper on our trip.
the weather was perfect the whole time we were there. It's like it doesn't get too hot ever, and it doesn't
Like it is 98, 99% of the times, except for those 3 days I was there that year. But yeah, Malibu is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's definitely
Can't
on
beat
my
those
list.
West Coast sunsets either.
Oh my God, no.
Is that more of like a surfer, like a bunch of surfer area type of vibe? I've never been, so I don't know.
I would say it's pretty classy area. I mean, you got a lot of retirees out there that are living in their, 10, $20 million homes over the bluff, but there's like the beautiful bluffs that you can drive on down the coast and just look out, and you're 200, 300 feet above the coastline, and you can see the sunset. I mean, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
All right, I want to move on to my 4, Hilton Head. Seth mentioned it earlier.
Mentioned it earlier.
My family has vacationed there, starting back when I was like, I don't know, kindergarten up until until about 2 years ago. We vacationed there pretty much every year. My family got a beach place elsewhere, so that's where we started vacationing. But yeah, Hilton Head, love it. Salty Dog, if anybody's been down there, awesome place to eat.
Yep.
Nice outdoor eating and bar, and just a cool place to hang out. A lot of good food. Always had fun down there. So that's my number 4. And you're a stone's throw from Charleston if you want to go into Charleston too. That one didn't make my list, but was one that I thought about for sure.
Hilton Head's known for their golf too, right?
Yeah, we always play golf when we go down there. So
Yeah.
that's another thing I forgot to mention. But a few courses down there I love. They've got the Lighthouse course that I've never played. That is actually a PGA course. So I've ridden my bike out on it and like seen the holes and stuff, but I've never played on it. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah. The courses are expensive, but they're beautiful. They got tons of them on that island too.
Mm-hmm.
I went there. The one time that I was there was really on Wes's recommendation, and we liked it. We took the whole family. So that would be like me and my parents and my brothers and their significant others all went. So there was a lot going on. It's a lot of people to herd, especially because the little one was still pretty young at that time. So it was a nice place, beautiful sunset right there on the island too. So I can understand that pick, especially proximity to you. It's somewhere you can go pretty often.
Yeah. Both of those first two were ones that were within like driving distance, easy, like quick vacation spots. The rest of it, not quite so much. So that was kind of the reasoning for, I wanted to have some like frequent type of vacation spots on my list.
Right.
All right, Josh, let's hear your
All
4.
right, number 4 for me. I said Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Love that there's history everywhere in the city. National treasure, everything in the city is a clue. Going to see the Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, even the cooler little circle areas where the downtown life is. I like the National, so going to see a Nats game every once in a while. As far as the big city aspect, I love mass transit is just something that interests me, and getting to ride the metro over there is pretty cool because it's a pretty intense metro system. It's drivable, beautiful hotels everywhere. All the buildings are beautiful. I was engaged there, so it holds a special place in my heart. The Smithsonian's are so cool to visit, with the Air and Space Museum. Natural History Museum is also cool. I don't know, every time I go, I feel like I'm discovering a new part of it. Just really enjoy it every time. The only drawback is it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, I thought about DC just with I've only been once, but like just with all the history and the monuments, that's a, like if you're a big history person, that's a cool thing to see all of that for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love DC. I'm really patriotic just in general. I'm not a huge history fan. Although there's a lot of history where I'm from because it's the birthplace of Harry S. Truman. So there's a lot to do with World War II and presidents here in Kansas City. But I'm just a real patriotic guy. So going to the Smithsonian, seeing the Lincoln Monument, I loved it when I went there. I went there for a workshop and stayed a couple days, and I was able to take my dad with me, and he's an ex-Marine. So he loved it. He went out to Arlington and was able to experience that kind of when I was working. And I would go out at night and I'd run right by the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Ave. So there's just something to be said about, being able to run the streets of, the most powerful city in the world, in my opinion, is really awe-inspiring for me. So I really like Washington, D.C.
I'd agree 100%.
Good pick. Let's hear 3, Josh.
All right, 3. Going a little closer to home. I'm going with the North Carolina Outer Banks. Had to put a beach on there, and this is one of my favorite beaches. One of my favorite things to do at the beach is go fishing, and it's got world-class fishing, inshore, surf fishing, and offshore. One time we took a charter boat out fishing and caught 6 or 7 tuna and a whole slew of mahi, and man, it was so good to eat it that night. It's absolutely beautiful out there driving over. It's a beautiful drive out there too. It's kind of far, but you get to see a lot of cool stuff driving over the sound, driving over all the gigantic bridges, and then driving on the road. You get to see ocean on the left, sound on the right. Absolutely beautiful.
Have you ever been
You
to
drive on the beach, which is one of my favorite activities. What were you saying?
Have you ever been to any of the islands that have like the wild horses out on them out there?
I have not. I would love to go out to some of them though. I'm here. It's a lot of cool, and it's a really neat experience.
But yeah, what you can finish what you're saying about like the driving out on the beach.
Love driving on the beach. It's one of the coolest experiences in my opinion. And plus, you don't have to lug anything out on the beach, which is a plus all around. The Outer Banks, you get to be secluded, but you're not necessarily isolated. You can still get to everything you need. Everything or all the food you have there is super fresh and so tasty. Then you get to see some pretty cool lighthouses in state parks, like with the Wright Brothers Memorial, Jockey's Ridge State Park, and of course the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, and all those lighthouses is really neat.
Solid choice.
The extent of my experience with Outer Banks is my wife watching it, and I'm walking in the door and I'm walking right back out when she's got it on. I'm like, okay.
You should.
John B.
I watched the first 30 minutes, and that show is entirely representative of what the Outer Banks are. It is a shot-for-shot remake of Vacation out there.
It wasn't even shot there. Fun fact.
Yeah, I know.
All right. I'll go
A little
ahead.
bit of sarcasm for you.
I'll go ahead with my 3. So I said Hawaii, but I guess if we're going to get more specific, I'll say I struggled to pick between Maui and Kona. I really enjoyed my time in both of those places for different reasons. But so we'll say Hawaii as a whole. And oddly enough, I took a cruise around all of the Hawaiian Islands. Basically, it was pretty cool. Like for my first time in Hawaii, we flew into Hawaii, and then the cruise goes and stops at each significant location in Hawaii, so you get to kind of experience it all. If I were to go back, I'd probably pick like 2 different spots and stay, and then fly to another island and do it probably. But a lot of fun. You got the volcanoes that you can go tour and explore. Did some mountain biking, snorkeling, just experience their world-class beaches. Like there's nothing like a Hawaiian beach. It was just a lot of fun. And I was pretty young. I was in middle school, but that's on the bucket list of adult travel now, like to go back and re-experience it as an adult.
Right. I've never been, but everyone I've talked to that's been out there has absolutely raved about it.
The views, it's some of the most gorgeous views you'll ever see. Especially from the boat, like when you're away from the island, you get to look back at like there's a beach with a mountain behind it. It's just like it just goes right from beach to mountain, like immediately. And that was kind of breathtaking to take a look at. And like on the mountain bike trip, I got to see one of the areas where there's like really good, when we rode up the van up to the top, look down, and you can see one of the areas where like a lot of surfers catch the really big waves. And he's like, that's where, like I've never seen one of those in person. Like even there, it's just from the top of a mountain, but like those massive surfing waves that you can see on video and stuff, that pretty cool.
I did watch Just Go With It with Adam Sandler, and that takes place in Hawaii. And man, they had like a surfing lesson there, and they made it seem super intense with all the waves and stuff. It seemed like a beautiful place.
Yeah. All right, Seth, 3.
My 3 is kind of circling back to Josh's, is Washington, D.C. That's my number 3 for some of the reasons I gave earlier. I felt really in awe of the whole city, all the history there. There's so many different things to do. You can be there a week and not see everything that it has to offer. Some of the Smithsonian's I could probably take an entire day in, but I was trying to get through as many as I could. So I think we went to like 4 different ones in 2 days. So yeah, just love Washington, D.C. So.
Right. Going up to Smithsonian's last time we went and spent a little bit more time in the Air and Space Museum. And one thing that I didn't see the first couple of times that I'd been is they have the spacesuit that Neil Armstrong wore when he landed on the moon the first time. And that was incredible to see. And I've never seen it before. It took me back.
It's like goosebumps are actually coming right now for me.
Big
things
time.
like that. I have a special place in my heart for America. So that's where I'm at. So that's my number 3. And my number 2 is Orange Beach, Alabama.
There you go.
It's the closest beach to Kansas City, I think. It's like between there and Galveston. Like those are the 2 closest beaches, which is crazy when you're talking about like large bodies of water, unless you're counting like a lake or whatever, but I don't count those. So going down to the Gulf, we actually have a trip planned. That's where I'm going this upcoming week, is we're going down to Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Alabama area. It's real close to Pensacola, so a lot of people kind of group those 3 together. It's about an hour away. Sugar sand beaches. It's really relaxed vibe. We typically try to stay in the same condo that we do every time, so we just walk right across the street. Save about $800 on our trip by just walking across the street to the beach rather than staying right on the beach. So save some money. We hit a stoplight and you press the button, it automatically turns red and you just walk right across. It's awesome. We love it. And we've been there so many times now, we just feel super comfortable. I know where everything I need to go is. I know the kind of the detours to get around the tolls down there, things like that, just because I've been down there so much. So yeah, we really like it. Taking my parents with us this time in the little one, so it'll be a whole new adventure this time around. But it's she calls it a baby moon, I call it a vacation before our next hits. So, so Orange Beach, Alabama, that's where I'm at.
All right, I've never been, but I've heard good things about like that Gulf Shore area.
I actually went once when I was really young. I have family that lives in Alabama, and I actually lived in Florida growing up. So we met them in Orange Beach, Alabama, and had vacation with them. I don't remember anything about it, but they really enjoyed it. And there's something to be said about going to the same place year after year and really enjoying getting to know exactly where you are and enjoying and looking forward to it and being relaxed just being there.
Yeah, that goes back to my Hilton Head pick earlier. Like that was where we went every year. So it's like I just hop on, and that place is a lot of bike riding on like to and from places and not as much car. So you just hop on your bike and haven't been there in a year and you still know exactly every turn to make on your bike because you've been there so many times to get to the Salty Dog or the Lighthouse or whatever you want to do for the day.
Yeah. Well, speaking of food, shout out Cosmos down in Orange Beach because that's like my favorite place to go down there. So, Cosmos and the dogs right there.
All right, and speaking of food, that plays right into my number 2, Venice, Italy. Some of the best food I can ever remember having. It's where the first stop that my wife and I made on our honeymoon. It was a lot of fun, sightseeing, a lot of history there. It's a really old place, but like you get to take the boat you don't get picked up in a car from the airport. You get picked up in a boat.
That's awesome.
And you take the boat to your hotel, drops you off like right on the river to your hotel, and then you're just all your transportation is either walking or by boat. It's just so much fun. Best Italian food I've ever had. Great pizza, great pasta.
That's why it would be the best Italian food you've ever had.
I know it's in Italy, but it was a lot of fun and great food. All right, so let's
I've never been, so I can't argue too much. I can't dog on your pick this time.
I'd like to go back to Italy as a whole and visit other places than Venice, like just go through wine country and do Lake Como and the Amalfi Coast and some of those other spots in Italy. It's like a really nice. From the pictures, there's a lot of like awesome places, and just from stories, a lot of awesome places to visit in Italy.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I've never been, but
soon with COVID, like, Italy's off my list for a while.
It's still on the list, but we'll push it back a couple of years. But yeah, Italy, like you were saying, wine country and everything just seems like can't miss stuff.
All right, I think we're on to number 1.
I still haven't done my number 2.
Oh, you're number 2. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll go throw it out. Already been mentioned, Savannah. Savannah, it's a cool city. It's all walkable. Got a real neat historic downtown area. Everything you need within walking distance. It's historic as well. Everything there is super old and super neat, and everything looks purposed. Uh, each square has a little monument with a little nugget of history there. It's really cool. They got great food, a really calm atmosphere. One of my favorite activities to do down there is sit on the river and watch the big ships come into the port. Absolutely massive ships. It just makes you feel so small. It's really cool. It being an open container city is another little nugget that's in there. Makes it interesting and a good time. And it's cheap. Everything there is super cheap, from hotel rooms to food. It's just a really good time. Real enjoyable. Beautiful parks.
Yeah, it is. It's really chill. I only went there twice for 2 days, but I really liked it. Just kind of passing through. But it was nice. They had a lot going on. And then they had, can't remember what kind of food it was. Some kind of dessert that they were known for. I can't remember what it was, but like some kind of chocolate, but it was delicious.
Yeah. All right. Well, is it time for my number 1?
Bum, 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 bum.
Let's hear it. It's St. Lucia. It's where I went on my honeymoon. Absolutely beautiful. Time of my life. They call it paradise, and they call that for a reason. Oh, man. I remember we stayed in a resort. Not telling you the name of the resort. No free ads. But it was open air. It was in the mountains, but you could see right through the Piton Mountains. There are these 2,000-foot mountains rising right from the ocean, like Wesley was talking about Hawaii. Just beach to mountaintop, absolutely beautiful. Incredible food. Every meal we had was world class. Of course, we were staying in resorts, but it's still nice little. It's still relevant. The water was so clear and beautiful. Everything about it. We took a cruise around, and just being able to see it just made you feel relaxed, calm. It felt like paradise, and I can't really put it into words other than saying that.
I've only heard good things about it. My grandfather, before he passed, he went there several times, and he clearly loved it. He went there all the time, and I've heard it's incredibly clear water. Like you said, beautiful mountains mixed with the beautiful ocean. I mean, it sounds awesome. So I can see
right.
why number 1.
We'd wake up in the morning and go out. I would wake up, go to the left side of the bed, and go out to our back porch, and we were looking over like a valley of a rainforest. And then I would go back past my bed and pass to our other terrace, and we were looking 800 feet down to the ocean. It was incredible. Another little thing that I forgot to mention was I was saying with DC, I really like mass transit a lot and traveling. All the logistics of that really interest me. St. Lucia was the first place where I got off a plane and you took stairs down to the runway. You walked from the jetway into the terminal. It was really cool to see. I don't know if I'd want to do it all the time, but that was a really neat experience. Felt like I was flying private for a second.
So I'll move into my 1 now. So my 1 is the second stop on mine and my wife's honeymoon, Santorini, Greece. So like Josh was talking about, you just kind of look out and you see the ocean and see the spectacular views. We stayed on the side that everybody's seen, like the mountain picture from Santorini, where you're staying in the side of the mountain, overlooking the cliffs and the ocean's right there, and just a breathtaking view, and the sunsets over the ocean right out from where you're staying. It was incredible. We rented an ATV while we were there, and that was our form of transportation. You could take that to the beach, take that to go eat somewhere. You could walk, whatever you wanted to do. A lot of really good food. I had a ton of euros. Great Greek food. the homemade Greek tzatziki. Oh, so good, so good. Even better than anything anything that I'd ever had in the U.S. Any restaurant that tried to mimic it. It was so good. So yeah, that's my number 1. So my 1 and 2 were our honeymoon spots, and 4 was where I proposed. So that's a lot of sentimental things, like Josh mentioned earlier. So So
Yeah, one of the things that I was going to mention with my number 5 was a lot of this is very subjective based on like who you experience the vacation with and everything like that. And that's part of the reason number 1, St. Lucia, my honeymoon, is up there.
Yeah, and my 1 and 2 had to be the honeymoon because that's just like unforgettable time right there.
Yeah, I saw all the pictures from your honeymoon, and it looks amazing. It looks beautiful, and all the little homes, just a sea of homes.
All on the cliffside.
Where
Yeah.
you all were, I don't know where you were, but yeah, beautiful pictures. So.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that sunset over the Mediterranean. It looked beautiful.
All right, and then the last but not least, Seth's number 1.
So my number 1 is back to my own honeymoon also. So it's Honolulu, Hawaii. I haven't been to Maui or Kona that Wes mentioned, but we went on our honeymoon to Waikiki Beach, stayed right on the beach. It was amazing, beautiful, everything that you would imagine Hawaii is. One of the reasons we really like Honolulu, and it's actually where we were going to be heading with our upcoming vacation if COVID hadn't happened, because there's a 14-day quarantine right now in Honolulu for anybody traveling there. But you're on the island, so you can go from the touristy Waikiki Beach with all the shopping you could ever want, all the luxury brands, blah, 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 and they all offer it at a discount. For some reason, they have like a 20% off discount on all of their retail prices there. I think it's probably because of the imports from Asia. But so you go there, and then you can turn right around, walk 10 minutes, and go hike Diamond Head. And you can hop in the car and drive 45 minutes, be in the mountains, and then drive another 30 minutes, and you're at North Shore, which is the most famous surfing spot in the world. So, I mean, you have all of that right there, not to mention incredibly fresh food that we all seem to enjoy when we're on vacation. We're all looking for that food, it sounds like. Lots of different cultural vibes. It's like going out of the country without technically going out of the United States. So yeah, it's the sunset, sunrise, everything is beautiful. I mean, you can go to one side and see the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen. You can go to the other side the next morning and see a beautiful sunrise. So yeah, everything I could ever want there is beautiful.
Yeah, and Maui and Kona topped my list because we for Hawaii, because when we were on the main island, we spent all of our time in that really touristy like upscale area you were talking about, and I didn't really get to do quite as much island seeing as I would have liked, and it was more of like we did go out on Waikiki Beach for part of the day and ate in a restaurant right behind it, but that was the coolest thing we did there. Most of it was just like the really touristy stuff, and it was always so crowded. It was so crowded, so many people. The thing I liked about Maui and Kona is we got to kind of do the sightseeing and the experience, like the nature and the beautifulness of it and stuff like that without as many people.
Yeah.
So that I'm sure if I got to do like the Diamond Head and some of the other stuff on Honolulu, the main island, that it would be a little different.
We play putt-putt on all of our vacations. Like, that's what we do. So we played putt-putt like on the side of this mountain in Honolulu. I was just beautiful. Oahu is gorgeous. It looks like Jurassic Park. And then you turn around the other way and you're seeing the most beautiful, waves that you've ever seen. So it's amazing. Eat shrimp off Giovanni's shrimp truck by Dole Plantation. The freshest pineapple you could possibly have. I mean, it's just amazing. It's beautiful.
All right, so let's recap everybody's.
The beauty of the landscape seems hard to describe, but I'm sure once you experience it, it's unforgettable.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's recap everybody's top 5 and then maybe give a couple honorable mentions too that didn't make your list. We'll start with Seth.
Yeah, so my number 5 was LA, 4 was Malibu, 3 is Washington, D.C., 2 is Orange Beach / Gulf Shores, Alabama. And number 1 for me is Honolulu, Hawaii. I had about 4 on my honorable mentions. Some places didn't make my list just because I experienced them when I was pretty young and didn't have, my wife with me and my little one. But some of those places, we got engaged in Santa Monica, so that was on my honorable mentions. Moab, Utah, and Arches National Park is an incredible. It's beautiful. It's the most amazing naturally made monuments I've seen. Chicago was on there just for another big city. I love deep dish pizza and I like hot dogs, so it's like everything's right there. Plus they've got like Wrigley Field, which is cool. And then Denver was on my list because it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead with mine. 5, Savannah. 4, Savannah, Georgia. 4, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. 3, I said Hawaii, and then more specifically, I couldn't really decide between Maui and Kona. Very different atmospheres, but loved them both. 2 was Venice, Italy, and 3 was Santorini, Greece. And then I had a whole separate top 5 for my honorable mentions. I had five honorable mentions here that could have made the cut. I said Charleston was one of them. Ocean Isle, North Carolina. So being in North Carolina, I thought about doing the North Carolina beach, but I've just spent more time at Hilton Head so far. 3, I said Orlando, Florida. That was my wife used to live there, and that kind of holds a special place in my heart. And been to Disney there a few times, and just getting to visit there. 4, Atlanta for Braves games. Atlanta as itself, it's just okay. But when the getting to go and watch your favorite baseball team in person, nothing like that for me. So
I like Atlanta.
Yeah, just for couldn't put it on the list just on the strength of the games themselves, but a lot of fun. And then 5, I said Chicago also. Seth enjoyed that city. Went up there for Josh's bachelor party. Actually, got to see a Cubs game. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see Wrigley in person.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. Recapping my top 5: 5 at a cruise ship, 4 Washington D.C., 3 at the North Carolina Outer Banks, 2 Savannah, Georgia, number 1 St. Lucia. Now a pretty long honorable mention list as well. First of all, I had Southern California on there. It's been a week out there, going to LA. Spent a lot of time in Santa Monica. Beautiful. Chicago is also on there. Going to see Wrigley, the deep dish pizza, buildings. It was unbelievable.
Shout out Giordano's.
Shout out Giordano's, exactly. Wait, no free ads.
Yeah, sponsor us, Giordano's. Sponsor the pod.
I also had Jamaica on that list, Nassau, the Bahamas. Nashville is a heck of a time. And then the rest of the North Carolina beaches, good old Lake Day, and then Banner Elk, North Carolina is also an honorable mention.
Solid list. Hopefully our list gave some of the listeners some ideas for their next vacation as soon as COVID's over.
Yeah, once people can go back to flying, I'm chancing it. So we'll
Are y'all flying or driving down?
We're flying.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, flying into Pensacola, and then, like I said, it's only an hour drive across to the Alabama side. One other place that almost made my list was New Orleans, just because it's only 4 hours from Orange Beach, and we go over there for a day every time we're down there. But since it's only a day trip every time, I didn't count it. But yeah, it's a cool place. I'm not a big partier, so it's not like Fat Tuesday doesn't really excite me too much. Mardi Gras doesn't, but I can understand why people definitely get down and dirty in that city. There's a lot to do and a lot going on all over the place. So, all right, cool. Well, thanks for hopping on the show with us, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Yeah, thanks for your submission and for suggesting a topic. And hope that the listeners out there consider suggesting some topics also. We actually have continued to ramp up the number of suggestions that we get on our Instagram story every week. So check us out over there. Be sure to vote for who you feel like won this episode. Not a lot of debating when it came to this episode, just because there all seem to be pretty good choices. And there's so many different places you could possibly vacation, right? So this is more of a informational suggestion type episode, which is kind of cool for us to do. So appreciate y'all joining. Thanks again, Josh. And we're out. Thanks.
Later. Thanks for supporting our show, 5 Over Friends.
We hope you'll join us next week as we debate a new topic.
Don't forget to submit topics on our latest Instagram post for a chance to be our next guest debating your top 5.
Subscribe, rate the show, and share with your friends to help us grow.
See
See y'all next week.